Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, you are the very best. Thank you for your consistency. Thank you for always showing up. I hope that you guys enjoy this content. So you guys have been asking for a lot of legal content. This is something that I'm going to be doing today. Actually, right now I have a Teams meeting where I will be addressing some aspirant lawyers, attorneys, and aspirant advocates on this Teams meeting. So basically, I will be sharing my journey as an advocate. I'll be sharing, what I'll be sharing with them what the journey has been like. I'll be sharing with them the road to becoming an advocate, what is required of you and stuff. I think I've already done this before, but however, this is a group of students that I've never spoken to before, so this is obviously a different experience for them. However, for those of y'all that are here for the legal content, this is going to be a session where we're going to engage myself and the students and so forth, and we'll be engaging, and I think I will have a Q&A, I guess, where they can ask me any questions that they have, and I will then answer those questions. So I'm sorry, my internet is giving me a bit of an issue here. I don't understand what's happening. That has asked me to join them today is called Careerguiders Without Borders. I hope it's going to be audible enough for you guys to also hear what is said and the questions that are asked, but obviously you'll be able to hear me.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a beautiful end, or you're still having a beautiful end to your Monday, and everyone was just up to their game. So I'm Kwezi. I am the founder of Careerguiders Without Borders, and what we do is we foster a culture of critical thinking and self-discovery through careers counseling, workshops, mentorship sessions, the works. So that's what we do as an organization. That's why we are here today. And this is, I think, we've had a full month of these sessions, and this is the first time that we have two groups in one session. So that's what we're all about, and thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It is amazing having an advocate in our midst, as we have received quite a few queries, and it is of great need that we have someone like you. So it is amazing. Over to you, Ms. Klamini.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for the brief explanation of what the organization is about. I am Ms. Klamini, obviously, as you guys already know, and today I have a very beautiful and special session. We are joined by none other than Advocate Manisa, and we are so excited to be with her today and her joining us. We are definitely going to give her opportunity to start at exactly 10 past. We are not about to waste a lot of her time because she's a booked and busy hand and she has consultations to attend to. So I would highly request that you guys engage, ask questions if you have, but also give her time to speak, and then when you have questions towards the end, she will just note them down and then she will take them down however she wants to facilitate this. And she is Advocate Manisa. She graduated her LLB with Northwest University. She's an admitted advocate of the High Court, and she's currently serving with the bar in Pabasa. Oh, she's actually serving she's working with Pabasa right now. She's a member of Pabasa. She will tell you guys all about it, and that's just a brief background about it. We're excited to have you all today, and we hope that you do enjoy the session, and I'm looking forward to it as much as I can. Please do have your pens and papers ready to take all the notes, especially for our aspiring advocates. I know constantly get a request about how to get into the bar, and I sometimes do not have answers to those questions. So thank you so much. Over to you, Advocate Magnisa.
Thank you so much, Malifa, for that beautiful introduction. Good evening, everyone. I hope that everybody is well and in good spirits. My name is Matari Manyisa, Advocate Manyisa. I am an admitted advocate, like Malifa has already explained, and I am sitting at Loftus Chambers, Pabasa. I'm a member of Pabasa, and I'm sitting at Loftus Chambers in Pretoria. So I was admitted as an advocate last year, and I've been in practice since. And I was given a few questions that I would then have to answer regarding this, but I would actually prefer that you guys give me whatever questions or whatever areas you want me to touch on specifically. I'm going to start by explaining obviously the process of how to become an advocate, what you need to do after you've obtained your LLB. Whatever the questions that I was given were to touch on my journey as an advocate and whether it was something that I've always wanted to do. The second question was how different the industry is compared to when I was doing my degree. The third one is obviously tips for any person who would like to take the route of becoming an advocate. And then I just added the requirements as the last one. However, I'm more than willing to answer any other questions. However, I shall start with the requirements of becoming admitted as an advocate while everyone decides what it is that they would like to ask me, just so that we don't waste time.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay. So, first things first, before you can become admitted as an advocate, I'm sure you're all aware that you would need to complete your LLB degree, which is 4 years, depending on if you make it on record time. But either way, you need to complete your LLB degree. And as soon as you have completed your LLB degree, you will then have to apply for pupillage. You can apply for law school if you'd like to. Most students that graduate usually do go to law school immediately after university, which is 6 months. This does help you in, what can I say? This does help you with your skills and the practical knowledge that you need for practice. Obviously, nothing will ever be exactly like practice. There's no amount of school that can actually prepare you fully for practice. Practice is exactly that. You practice every day until you perfect your craft. Right. So after graduating with getting your LLB degree, then you would have to apply for pupillage. Now there are different bars. So one can apply to many of the different bars or all of the different bars, depending on where you would like to do your pupillage and where you would also like to practice, for instance. So with pupillage, it is a 12-month program that you need to do, just the same as serving your articles of clerkship. Obviously, there's certain things that you do in pupillage that are different. As I was saying, pupillage is more or less the same thing as your articles of clerkship, like what you would need to do in order for you to become an attorney. Only with the articles of clerkship, you would have to go, you'd have to do that or serve articles for a period of 24 months. Whereas with pupillage, it's a period of 12 uninterrupted months. Under a principal, just like as a candidate attorney, except now you would be a pupil and not a candidate attorney. But in any case, the Act, the Legal Practice Act, refers to both as candidate legal practitioners. For that entire 12 months, it is completely unpaid. There is, however, a program by the Legal Practice Council and SACITA, whereas they offer funding to pupils who get accepted into the bar to give them a stipend every month. I think it's 7.5 if I'm not mistaken, or 7,000 rand. It was 7,000 rand when I did my pupillage. And I know at our bar at Pabasa, we also offer a stipend of 2.5 just to stay, to help our pupils stay afloat, because it's very difficult to go for an entire year without any source of income, no job. You can't run a business on the side. Like, you're not allowed to do all of those things. You need to focus solely on your pupillage. Somebody asked me a question. I think it was Nomzamo, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know where that question disappeared to, but it said, would I advise students to go straight to the bar or do pupillage immediately after university? This is a very tricky question to answer because people's circumstances are very different. The honest truth is that there is no shortcuts when it comes to becoming admitted as a legal practitioner. And if becoming an advocate is something that you genuinely want to do, then I would say that it's possible for you to go straight to the bar and make it. However, it is more difficult if you go straight to the bar to build your practice. It takes quite a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice. There will be a lot of financial struggles depending on your circumstances and your background, and if you do have the financial support for it, because you really will need some form of financial support, considering you will not be making any income whatsoever. Law books are incredibly expensive, and you will need those resources also to go to obviously go to chambers every day, because you have to go to chambers, you need to go to your mentor, you need to attend classes. If you guys have got court sessions, you need to attend those things, and all of those things require money. So I see that Mitlali has got his hand up. Mitlali, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, good evening, guys. I'm still stuck on the part where you said you're not allowed to work or have a job, something like that. So, if you have an already existing business before you go, or like after law school, what do you have to do? Maybe you have a business, but you're not running it, you're just owning it. Do you still have to like stop running the business? I mean, owning the business. How do you do with that?
Okay. So I, for instance, will make an example of myself, because I actually have a business that was functioning and was running before I went to the bar. And when I then entered into my PVT contract with my principal and obviously with the Legal Practice Council, the right thing to do is that you're supposed to declare to the Legal Practice Council that you've got a business, right? And you need to explain to the Legal Practice Council that this business is not going to disturb you during the course of your practical vocational training, which would be your pupillage, and that you will not be making any income from this business. But that obviously needs to be the truth. If that is not the case, then you have to deregister that business, because it's either the Legal Practice Council is going to give you permission, which is very unlikely, or they will not. They will just leave you, and then when it comes to admission, you're going to have a problem. So, for instance, I did not declare to the Legal Practice Council, not because I wanted to mislead them, but because at the time of me entering my practical vocational training contract, I was not actually making money from that business at that time, and it was very easy for me to just let go of the business. I just told myself that I'm going to focus on pupillage, and I just ignored the company and continued with my life as if nothing was happening. However, when I did move my application, or when I actually served the Legal Practice Council with my application for admission, they raised some queries. The one query was that why did I not disclose to the Legal Practice Council that I was a director in a company? And then the next thing was that I would then have to prove to the Legal Practice Council and satisfy the Legal Practice Council that I did not make any money from this company. This would then require me to attach my bank statements and anything that could help support me as an annexure, to prove to the council that I did not deliberately try to act smart and ignore the requirements, because it's there in your contract. It specifically specifies that you're not supposed to be involved in any activities where you'll be getting any form of remuneration or anything like that. So because I did not disclose to the Legal Practice Council, it then became an issue at when it was time for me to become admitted. Should the Legal Practice Council not be satisfied that you did not make any money and that you did not get disturbed in any way by this company of yours, and should they do a background check or anything like that and find evidence that you did benefit from this company, your entire contract is going to be nullified. It will be as if you did not do pupillage for the entire duration of the 12 months, and therefore you cannot become admitted. So that is what happens. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that. Even as a candidate attorney, you cannot run away from that requirement. As a candidate legal practitioner, you are not allowed to make any form of income from any place, whether it's a business or whether it's a job or anything. The downside of being a candidate legal practitioner is that, and with pupillage, if you've got a full-time job, you need to retire. Is it retire? It's resign. Sorry, it's resign, and you need to focus on that pupillage. I hope that answers your question, Mihlali.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. It's just surprising. I'm still trying to process it. Thank you.
Take your time processing it. Take your time processing it. Yeah. Back to the question of that I was asked about would I advise a graduate to go straight to the bar. Like I said, the bar is it's a very difficult field to navigate. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or romanticize or, make this something that it's not. It's a very difficult profession to navigate. The bar is something completely different, especially because at the bar, the difference is that as an advocate, when you're practicing at the bar, you depend on attorneys for you to get work. So, unlike attorneys, we do not receive instructions directly from clients. So clients would then have to approach an attorney first, and the attorney would then brief counsel, which is an advocate, if there is a need for counsel to be briefed. So also another thing is that advocates can appear in all the courts automatically. We have an automatic right of appearance in the high courts, the Supreme Courts, the Constitutional Court, whereas attorneys cannot unless they apply for a right of appearance in the high court. So advocates are obviously considered litigation specialists, and they are considered highly skilled in terms of litigation and arguments and so forth. And we do not receive instructions directly from a client. What that basically means is that a layperson cannot come directly to me and say, "Hi, my name is Mihlali, and I want to institute divorce proceedings against my partner," and then I take those instructions. What needs to happen is that Mihlali will have to approach Malefa, and Malefa will then draft up the summons and all the necessary papers, and then Malefa will brief counsel and say, "Counsel, please receive this brief." For instance, like now, I just said to you guys, the disturbance that I got was because I was receiving a brief. So a brief is from the attorney, and the attorney is then giving me instructions to act on behalf of the client, which means appear in court, draft all the necessary papers, such as the heads of arguments, the answering, responding affidavits, and so forth and so forth. So the difficulty with going straight to the bar from university is that if you do not know any attorneys, you're going to have a very difficult time getting work, which means you're not going to get any money because you depend on attorneys to brief you. You depend on attorneys to give you instructions. So you really need to be a person that is not afraid of putting yourself out there, and a person that is not afraid of networking. Usually the first place to start would be your classmates and people that you studied with, those that are attorneys. Those will probably be the people that are going to give you instructions. If you have good relationships with them, that is also there is also state attorney, but state attorney is also they've got the 97-day rule, which is something that we are fighting very hard to do away with. And what this means is basically after you've given the state attorney your invoice, after they've briefed you, you'll have to wait for a period of 97 days to receive your payments. This is tricky because obviously as a junior coming into practice and with no experience, with no money whatsoever, you need money to pay for your chamber fees. Chambers are the offices of advocates. You need to have chambers in order for you to even be taken seriously. You can have door membership. For instance, at Pabasa we do have door membership, but that is not an office. So with door membership, you can then receive your briefs at the chambers at Pabasa. They will call you. You can do your consultations and everything there. However, it's not really conducive. It's not the same as having your own chambers. So as I said, it's tricky if you don't have any instructions, because how are you going to pay for your chamber fees? Those are some of the things that you need to take into consideration. You're going to have to pay chamber fees every single month. Some bars even have membership fees, which also need to be paid per month as well. So these are some of the things, amongst other costs that you will incur, such as your internet costs. You're obviously going to have to pay for transport depending on where you're practicing. You're obviously going to have to pay for rent if you are not staying at home. And those are some of the things that you need to take into consideration when you decide to go to the bar. Will you be able to navigate all those aspects? Because it's a very tricky space to be in, and it's a very competitive space to be in as well. So yeah, that's the thing. Would I advise somebody to go to the bar directly from university? If I had known better, I probably wouldn't have done it. I probably would have gone to work for the state first, for experience, for exposure, or I would have maybe gone and become an attorney first and made relationships there. But I'm here now and I'm doing really well. I'm doing fine. So I do believe that it's possible. It just takes hard work and dedication, and it really takes a lot of putting yourself out there. If you really want to be an advocate, then I say go for it. There's no shortcut, there's no easy way about it. In the first 1 to 3 years, you are probably going to struggle, but that also depends on the type of person that you are. The trick is, well, maybe I should not share the tricks now, but the trick is, with practice, you just need to put yourself out there. You need to network, and whenever you get a brief, you need to work really, really hard and impress even your opponents. When you leave the courtroom, the other attorney that is your opponent must come to you and shake your hand, even if you lost, and say, you know what, you fought the good fight. I love the way you presented your case and so forth. Please give me your contact details, counsel. When I have a matter next time, I will call you. That's what you need to aim for. So even if you lose, you need to make sure that you lost, but you fought a really good fight and your opponent is impressed. That is how you get work. And you obviously need to impress your seniors as well, because seniors will recommend you to other seniors and they will give you work. They will give you deviling work. They will tell you, draft this opinion, I will pay you. Draft this heads of argument, I will pay you. And that's honestly how you start. You do deviling work for your seniors. That's how you get paid. And that's how you then build your practice from there. So yes, I would advise somebody to go straight from varsity to the bar. However, you need to know exactly what you're setting yourself up for, and you need to be prepared for all of that, because it is a struggle. Somebody had their hand up. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. No.
Sorry, it was a mistake.
Okay, no problem. Is there any other question that anybody would like to ask? How can one best cope or navigate around with the mental issues that comes with this? Honestly speaking, that is a very good question, because I think a lot of us go through a lot of mental health problems, and it's very overwhelming. I think for the last 2 weeks or so, I've been burnt out, and I literally said to myself, I'm not going to chambers, I'm going to stay at home and I'm going to work from home. Unfortunately, there is nothing you can actually do to minimize the stress that you are going to get from practice. It's a very stressful profession. The cases that you do can be so complex that they can stress you out. You deal with all sorts of stuff, and it's really impossible as a person, because you're not a robot. It's impossible to not get tired or emotionally exhausted or somewhat affected by some of the things that you see. Like when you deal with murder cases and so forth, it can affect you. And ultimately, I think that if you can afford therapy, always try to do that. Whenever you get an opportunity to rest, please, you can do that as well. What I do is that I try as much as I can to schedule my time, even though I'm not succeeding at the moment. I'm still struggling to manage my time, considering that work does not actually stop when the clock hits 4 o'clock or 4:30. Unfortunately, with practice, you barely get any sleep. You need to read, and sometimes the files are ridiculously large, and you just need to get through it, because you want to make sure that your clients are happy. You want to make sure that you don't go embarrass yourself in court. So that can take its toll on a person and obviously affect your mental health. But it does help to spend time with friends. If you are a drinker, I highly recommend that you drink whenever you get a chance. Pour your glass of wine and unwind. If you do other things for fun, do that. I will definitely take any opportunity to drink wine, because this profession requires you to dash it with something at times, as far as I'm concerned. So if that helps you in any way, I recommend that. If you like watching movies, do that. If you are a person that journals, do that. I think you really need to find what works for you, and obviously speak to people, and don't close yourself up and just hope that it goes away, because that's what leads to severe depression and all of that. And you do not have time to be depressed when you have a practice to run. And then Tulu picked up his hand again. I don't know if this time it's still a mistake or if you actually want to ask a question. And I saw a question about Fidelity Fund certificates. Can we just deal with Tulu? And then after that, yeah.
Evening, Advocate Manisa. It's a real question. I'm sorry for the first time.
No problem.
Yes, first of all, I wanted to say that I love your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
And since you can convert from being an attorney to being an advocate,
yes.
Can you become an advocate, then decide, I just want to be an attorney?
Yes, you can convert. However, you would still need to go and do your articles of clerkship. Unfortunately, you can't just jump ship and do whichever you want to do. That's not how it works. Unfortunately, if you want to be an advocate, you must do pupillage. If you want to be an attorney, you must serve your articles of clerkship. Pupillage was not necessary if you graduated before November 2018. You could then apply ex parte and become admitted as an advocate. All you need to do is just draft your application, serve it to the necessary bars and the council, obviously, and then you just need to leave it there for inspection for 6 weeks. And if nobody opposes or disputes why you shouldn't become an advocate, then you could easily get admitted. But now it is a requirement that people actually do pupillage, and I think it's actually to your advantage that you do pupillage, because you need the necessary skills that you get equipped with during pupillage. It's a very intense program, and it does prepare you for court, because if you do not do pupillage, you might find yourself in a situation where you're in the court and you don't have the right court etiquette, you don't know how to behave in court, you don't know how to conduct yourself. We see these famous advocates appearing on TV every day and making a circus and playing with the integrity of the court. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm sure you've seen some of them. And that is the whole purpose of doing pupillage, so that you can learn the ethics as well of the court, so that you can learn to draft, so that you can learn to apply yourself, especially when it comes to litigation. So with the whole conversion thing, I'm not really sure, because I've never considered the conversion, but I do know that to become an advocate, you must do your pupillage, and I do know that you must do your articles of clerkship in order for you to become an attorney. So the whole process of converting, you can. I'm just not really sure, and I don't want to speak on something that I haven't necessarily given myself time to really read on and really familiarize myself with. I hope that also just answers your question. Somebody asked another question about, where is it, that question? Isn't there something like Fidelity Fund certificates that don't need to get briefs from attorneys? What are Fidelity Fund certificates? Okay, Fidelity Fund advocates, there's definitely something like that. I was going to touch on it eventually, but with the Fidelity Fund advocate, the difference is that they can get instructions from clients directly. It's twice the work though, because when you get instructions from clients, you need to do a lot more work. The difference also with Fidelity Fund certificates is that you need to then write the attorney's bookkeeping exam. So in addition to the 5 exams that we write at the bar, you also have to then go and write the attorney's bookkeeping exam. What this then does is that it allows you to apply for a Fidelity Fund certificate with the LPC. And once you get the certificate, then you are allowed to open a trust fund account and get funds directly from clients, and receive funds from clients as well as funds for clients. So for instance, instead of RAV paying the attorney, they would pay the amount or the payout of the client directly into your fidelity fund account, or your trust account rather. That's what it is. It's a fidelity fund. It's advocates is the same as a trust account advocates. It's the same thing. It's just different words. So basically that enables you to then have a trust account. So you don't need to get briefs directly from attorneys. You can appear on instructions from clients directly. So for instance, if I am a fidelity fund advocate and my LIFA is a normal advocate, if for instance we're in a courtroom and we are both doing bail applications for people that have been arrested over the weekend, I, as the Fidelity Fund advocate, would not need an instruction or a brief from an attorney allowing me to represent that client in the courtroom and do the bail application for them. However, my LEFA, as a normal advocate, would need to have a brief that they will produce in the court, or instructions to satisfy the court that they got instructions from an attorney.
Okay, can I just add this before we continue, guys? Due to time, we might be kicked out of the meeting. As soon as it kicks us out, kindly use the link that is sent on the group to join. We will proceed there. We're not going to rush advocates to finish, but kindly just join immediately. Let's not waste any time. Thank you so much. In case it kicks us any time from now.
Yeah, it will. In a few minutes, it is going to kick us out. Also, can you please send me that link, because I'm not in your group. So I just send it to me on WhatsApp, please.
I'm going to forward it to you then.
No problem. And Trevor has his hand up. Hi, Trevor. Trevor.
Hello.
Hi.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're very audible.
I've already posed my question on the chat.
What is your question that I didn't see? I don't see anything in the chat.
Oh, I wanted to ask, I don't know if you've already touched on this part or not. I was late on the session due to load shedding. So I wanted to ask if it is advisable for every law student every law graduate, to do articles and be admitted even though one wants to go to academia or join the NPA?
I would say yes. If you want to do your if you know what the thing is with articles is that they give you first of all experience, and they equip you with the necessary skills. You learn how to cope under pressure as well. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Doing an LLB degree is completely different from what practice is. It's important. I think it's important to either go to law school if you can afford it, or just do the articles for the experience and stuff. If you want to be a prosecutor, that's great. Also, you can take that route. I wanted to go to the NPA. I'm not sure what happened there with the exam, but now personally I feel like I passed it, so I don't know. Whatever they know or whatever they think happened, it's got nothing to do with me, man. And the exam that I wrote, now I know that I passed it. If I failed it, I don't know what they did there. It's them and not me. So if I had gotten that opportunity, I would have done that. I would have gone to become an aspirant prosecutor and start there. But ultimately, my ultimate goal is that I've always wanted to be an advocate. From my first day in university, when I figured that I like LLB, I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to be advocate, Manisa. Everything else is not for me. And that's always been my end goal. So my end goal was that, and I've always focused on that. And now that I've gotten into this chat, I realized that there are some questions that I did not answer because I didn't see them. And Careerguiders Without Borders asked me, what do I wish I knew before pursuing this route? I wish that I had been told about the difficulties of there's a lot of things that I wish I knew, in fact. Even when I was still doing LLB, or before I did LLB, I wish that I was told how difficult it becomes after graduation. It's difficult to get articles. It's even more difficult to get into the bar. And I wish that somebody had told me about the struggles that a lot of people face immediately after graduation. Because when I left university, I graduated in 2019. It became a mission for me to get my articles. Like, it was just so hard. A lot of firms couldn't pay the law firm where I did do articles. At this point, I was so desperate to become admitted that I was willing to even do articles, even though I didn't want to be an attorney. I just wanted to get admitted and just get this thing over and done with, because an LLB degree on its own was not working for me. Like, I wasn't making any money from it. I wasn't allowed to go to court and any of that, and I wanted to practice. So admission was my end goal, and I was even willing to do articles without getting paid. That's how desperate I became, and I wish somebody had told me about that difficulty while I was still in varsity, so that I could do vacation work, so that I could put myself out there and familiarize myself with attorneys and so forth, so that when I leave varsity, I don't struggle as much to get articles or get into the bar. And I wish when it came to the bar, I had been told about the financial burdens that come with being at the bar. I was never prepared for how expensive the books were, the study guides were. I was never prepared for the amount of work, but I don't really have a problem with the work because I chose this profession. And with law, as soon as you go into the profession, you just need to know that you're going to have a lot of work, and there's no two ways about that. But I think for me, I wish that I had known better regarding my options. I would have saved, to be honest. I would have probably done some other work before going to the bar and saved up some money to help me with my practice when I get to the bar. Because now when I got to the bar after my admission, when I actually became a member of the bar, not a pupil, it then became a problem for me to now settle at the bar, because I was like, okay, so where am I supposed to get money to pay for chambers? I spent all my money on books. My family has supported me as much as they can. They're quite tired, quite frankly, and like the money is just not there to pay for chambers at a minimum, let's say, of 10,000 rand a month. Where am I going to get that from? Where am I going to get money to go to chambers every day? Who is going to brief me? All of those things became a serious concern, to the point where I even became severely depressed in the beginning of this year because my practice was just not picking up. I thank God for better days now, and I thank God that somebody else who believes in empowering black people, empowering black women. I cannot say her name, but she is a senior counsel and she's been incubating me. She took a chance on me and she said, you know what, you are a black female advocate, you're a junior, I know this journey, I've been there, I've been through the struggle, and it's not going to happen to juniors on my watch. So I will take you under my wing and I will make sure that I guide you and I assist you until you are steady. And by the end of this year, when I'm done with you, your practice will be steady. You'll be able to go out on your own. I'm speaking now and I am in a position where I am capable of actually just taking up my own chambers. So what she did is she has an incubation program where she incubates juniors. And so this has been my journey. I was just very lucky. I don't know how this happened, but like I said, you need to put yourself out there. So I put myself out there. I approached senior counsels. I approached these judges, and I was like, she's also a judge, an acting judge, and I said to her, listen ma'am, you don't know me, but I'm a junior, I'm a member of this pabasa, and I need work. I need somebody to give me some deviling. If you need somebody to devil for you, which is basically like doing research and drafting for your seniors and whatnot, I'm here, I'm available. And she was just like, you know what, I'm going to incubate you for a year. I will give you work. You can work with me, but you will obviously get paid for everything, and you just need to be responsible with the money that you're going to make, and you need to save that. Okay, so what happened now is that this meeting has kicked us out, but we have been instructed to log on immediately into another link. So that's what I'm gonna do. Drink water. So I have lost my train of thoughts. I don't recall where I was. I was talking about my incubation program. However, I don't remember what was the last thing I said. Can you please?
You were actually talking about. Sorry, why do I have an echo?
I don't know what's happening, but I can't hear the echo on my side. It's fine. It sounds okay on my side. I don't know about everybody else's.
You were talking about the senior counsel that took you under her wing and how she said she'll be there for you for a year.
Yeah. So in those I was saying, for instance, it's not everybody that has that opportunity to be incubated by a senior counsel and just be exposed to that kind of environment and stuff. However, like I said, if you don't put yourself out there in practice, you don't really know where you will land. It's important to, even if you're an introverted person, even if you're a person that is to themselves, you're not very social, you'll have to unlearn that, and just to a certain extent put yourself out there and try to make yourself visible. Another thing that also helps, especially in practice as a junior, is visibility. You need to be there. They need to see you, because remember, nobody knows you when you come to the bar as a junior and you're new in practice. So because they don't know you, they need to see you. When they see you, that will help you grow your practice, because when they see you walking around, or you go around greeting them every day, or they see you in the kitchen during lunchtime and so ever, and there's events and things like that, when they see you in chambers, whenever a senior, whether they're an SC or they're a senior junior, because there's a difference between the two, those people will remember you. And if they have some extra work or some unopposed matter that they're either too busy for, or they think could assist you, they will call you like, hey, where's that one that's always walking around here in the passages? Uphu Mihlal, uphu Uliso, where's Tulu? And they will give you that brief. What are you doing? And you say, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm not busy. Then they'll give you that brief. Here's a brief. Go, it's an unopposed matter, or it's an opposed matter, or it's an application to compel, whatever it can be, here's a brief, go and read the papers, and then do the work. You have to appear on this day, the matter has been set down. Do you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And that is how you grow your practice. And like I said, when you do receive a brief from a senior, it doesn't matter who you receive a brief from, you need to give it 100%, 110%. Make sure that you do a good job. Give it your best. If you don't know, you ask. That's another trick at the bar. If you don't know, you must go and knock on somebody's door. Somebody is an expert in that field that you have no knowledge in. There's one advocate who is a criminal law advocate because he's been doing criminal law, or he comes from the NPA and he practiced at the NPA for 16 years. And that day when you've got a criminal matter and you don't know what's going on, you go and you knock. Hi, counsel, how are you? Are you busy? Can I please pick your brain for a few minutes? Counsel, I'm dealing with this matter. I don't really know which direction to take. So far, this is what I've got. I've read my papers. Can counsel please give me some advice? Then that counsel will tell you, okay, listen, this is what you need to do. This is how you're going to approach the matter. Go and read Rule Mang Mang in your Erasmus there and apply that, and that's how you make sure that you draft proper papers. That's how you make sure that you make a good case. It doesn't take anything away from you to put yourself out there, to ask if you don't know. You go, you read your papers again, you read the relevant rules, you draft the necessary papers, you go to court, you impress everybody. Next time, somebody will be asking, hey, which one of these juniors can I give this brief to? I've got this brief, man, but I'm too busy to do it. That senior that gave you a brief before will say, no, man, give the brief to Malefa. Malefa is good. She's a good junior. She does the work. You're not going to have any problems with her. And just like that, your practice is picking up. One brief pays you, you save that money to pay for your chambers, maybe for the next 2 months. So for the next 2 months, you don't have to worry about paying chamber fees. And then after that, you're waiting for the next brief or the next invoice to pay you. But the money that you get, you need to make sure that you use it wisely, and you need to plan ahead so that when, for instance, state attorney is doing that 97-day rule, you don't find yourself hungry in that 97 days. You've got something that will sustain you. So those are also some of the things that I wish somebody had told me before I got to practice, because now personally I felt like I just got thrown into the deep end and I regretted it for the first few months. I was like, what was I doing? What was I thinking? Where was I going? Like, get me out of here. I was at that point. But because I'm also a relentless person, and I will always persevere, I went knocking on every senior's door at Pabasa, and I was like, hey, I'm a junior here, I'm a baby junior, I need work, assist me with deviling. If you need anything, research in Tontoni, call me, and seniors will open the doors. Luckily, at my bar at Pabasa, we really have an open door policy, and we really like a family. I just love the environment there because my seniors are very pro empowering the next person, and Pabasa is, you know, all about Pan-Africanism. Sorry about that. And it is really about empowering Black advocates. That's mostly what we are about at Pabasa. And you know, obviously we've been previously disadvantaged in this profession, and the way the profession is set up, there's a whole lot of gatekeeping, and that gatekeeping is what I knew about. I wish I knew about prior to coming to the bar, because that gatekeeping is what makes most junior advocates fail in their first year of practice. And it really does work out. If you had asked me this in January, I would have said don't even bother yourself going to the bar. However, I'm sitting here now and I'm telling you that it does get better, and when it gets better, it gets good. And by good, I mean really good. Like, even when you get your first invoice, like your first real brief, and you make that first invoice, you will also be scared. Like, is this money really mine? Like, is this really what I'm gonna get? Like, and that will be all the validation you need at that time to assure you that you made the right decision. You know what I mean? Like, first you'll be getting your smaller 10,000 rands, and you'll be like, yo, it's a lot of money. And then one day you'll brief 100,000 rand, and then you'll be like, yo, Sana, I can't believe this is me. And then another day you'll be invoicing 500,000 rand, or close to R1 million, because some seniors do invoice for R1 million depending on the duration of the matter and how much work you did. And that's where you'll see, oh no man, actually I made the right decision. And I can gladly tell you guys, as I'm sitting here today, that I made the right decision in coming into this part of the profession and becoming an advocate. I know that I made the right decision. I made my first very big invoice, I think about 3 weeks ago. And even I still can't sleep at night thinking about that money. I'm waiting for it. I'm always waiting with red eyes. When it clocks, I'm going to change even the way I walk. That's where I'm at right now in practice. Like, even my walk is going to change. Even my accent is going to change. So that's the positive thing. But I wish I had known all these other things before that, because you will find yourself in a position where you're just like, where was I going? But it does get better. How do you maintain relationships with people higher up without feeling like you're invading their personal space, bearing in mind that they're people with feelings before qualifications and all? That's a very good question. It's a very good question. I think most importantly, the first things first is that you need to know that your seniors are not your friends. They are your colleagues. And obviously, you must respect them, not just because they are senior to you, but also just because they are colleagues. And with collegial relationships, you need to tread very carefully. You need to try and not overstep boundaries that people set for themselves. It's very important to be a person that observes people and observes the behavior or the way certain people are. Some people are very reserved and to themselves, and you can see that because, for instance, the one thing that is a rule at the bar is that when you are new at the bar, you literally have to go door to door to every single person that is there, whether they're a junior or not. If they were admitted a week before you guys are both juniors, but they are senior to you, so that is your senior. You need to go and introduce yourself to everyone, right? And I think in that period when you're introducing yourself to all these people, I think it's very important to gauge them and gauge what kind of character these people are. Some of them are very open and outgoing and very welcoming, and they'll chat you up, they'll offer you tea or a drink or whatever, they'll ask you a lot of personal questions, they'll ask you about where you come from, they'll ask you about what are your aspirations in practice, what are you interested in, and stuff like that. Whereas some of them will barely say much. They'll be like, oh, okay, cool, thank you for coming to introduce yourself, it's nice to meet you, and then they'll just move on. You can already tell from that interaction with that person that this is a person that doesn't like being bothered, or this person is either busy right now But obviously you'll still see that person as time goes by, and depending on how they interact with you, you know not to go bothering that person unless it's absolutely necessary. So you know that you need to have boundaries and not be in their face all the time. Whereas those counselors that are over those that are very friendly, outgoing, that are always chatty and stuff like that, those ones usually they don't mind you coming to their chambers. There's one senior counsel there by our chambers. He's very chatty and he will talk, okay? He will talk sana until you're just like, yo, hi, things that are paid. Like, he will really talk. But we all love him and he's amazing and he's really smart and, you know, he's really good. You know, sometimes he'll tell you, hey, I'm busy counsel today. You know, I don't have time to entertain you. And he's got a lot of jokes. So sometimes you'll go and greet him and he'll be like, I don't have money to buy you lunch today. So, you know, some of them, they'll joke around and be like, I know you're here because you want me to buy you lunch. I'm not going to entertain you today. I'm busy. You know what I mean? It'll be one of those things. And those ones are the ones who are open. You know, you can go to them anytime. So the thing of personal space, also you mustn't be too conscious about personal space. You need to put yourself out there. That thing of being too conscious about what is this person going to think, are they going to think I'm too much, it's not going to help you with anything, because you need to be in people's faces in order for them to remember you when there's work. Could you know what, this person is always bothering me, so now I've actually got something that I can give them. Here, take. You've got nothing to lose at the end of the day by just being out there. But obviously don't be now sending people WhatsApp messages, gabo mawan, you know, and being weird and stuff like that. But, you know, within professional bounds, be nice, put yourself out there, try and build relationships with them. I hope that answers your question. I don't know.
Do you guys can I just wanted to check if you have done everything on your presentation so we can open questions and then we wrap up.
Okay, so I think I really did go through everything.
Well, hello again.
Hi.
I wanted to know with regards, let's say you were defending a villain at some point. Do you get trained how to put your emotions aside when you have to like defend someone who has wronged someone?
That comes with, I guess that comes with experience. I think from law school, you're told that you're not supposed to put your emotions in your work. You need to not be emotional, and however, it's impossible to not obviously be affected by some of the cases that you do. However, you learn to master that thing of you need to focus on acting in the best interests of your client. So even if your client is the villain, what you are responsible to do is to get them the most the best deal or the best possible outcome, and that outcome could be a lesser sentence or a different conviction. You know what I mean? That's your job. Your job is not to be involved in whether the client is a villain or not a villain or whatever. Any other questions? What hard truth have you had to accept about your career line of work? I think, to be honest, is that it takes time, and there are really no shortcuts. Like, it takes time. You just need to give it time and be patient, and just put in the work. For instance, as a junior advocate, the first thing that every single person you talk to when you get to the bar, that they're going to tell you, is that it takes about 1 to 3 years for your practice to stabilize. So you cannot expect your baby practice to allow you to buy 3 Porsches like some of my seniors, because some of my seniors come to work in 3 different Porsches a week, and I'm just like, my guy, where's this money coming from? And it's like, bruh, I've been in practice for a while, I've been doing this, you know what I mean? So when you can't just come to practice and expect that you're going to be driving that car with the F word that I'm not going to mention, you know what I mean? Like, you can't expect that to happen like immediately, you know? You really need to just accept that this profession is it takes time. Like, there's no instant gratification in legal practice, none whatsoever. Has there ever been a time where you asked to be removed from a case because of personal values and principles? No, there's never been any such thing. And also you must there is a rule, and there is a rule in ethics. I'm just not sure, I forgot, I don't know if it's the cab rank rule, or am I going to talk rubbish now? But it is also unethical to not take a brief because you feel like a person is guilty, or because you feel like a person is some type of way. It's actually unethical. Like, if you're not going to take a brief, you must have valid reasons of why you didn't take that brief. For instance, maybe if the person is trying to give you instructions to do something that is illegal and so forth, those are valid reasons for not wanting to take a brief. If a person wants you to help them commit a crime, for instance, those are good reasons to say, no, I'm not going to accept this brief. But you can't just say, because I don't like this person and the way he dresses, or because this person is gay, or because this person is lesbian, I'm not going to take a brief. It's unethical and it's misconduct. You can find yourself in a situation where you need to answer to the LPC, why did you do that? And you really don't want to find yourself being questioned by the LPC. We all don't want to receive emails from the LPC. When the LPC emails you, you just get a headache same time. What is it? That's, after God, fear the LPC. Can you represent a family member? You can represent a family member, as long as you're not going to attach your emotions to the case, and you're not going to be biased and whatnot. But you can represent a family member. Now, I think I've answered the questions that are here. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I believe this was great. You can just maybe let us know if we can close up from our side, because we are so informed.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. Yeah, no, I'm good. If everybody else is good and they've got no more questions, then I'm good.
Thank you so much more, Advocate Manisa. We truly, truly appreciate your presence here, and everything that you told us about, we took note of. I also learned some new things that I have never heard about before, so this was a win-win situation.
Thank you.
And yeah, thanks so much for taking your time to join us in our program. We truly, truly appreciate it. May you continuously continue to back those big invoices. I'm calling it upon you.
I receive that. Amen.
You have a good evening.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, guys. I see the messages. It's a pleasure. I see the hearts.
Yeah, we are happy.
I see the hearts. Thank you, guys. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining in. I hope that you enjoyed the session. I hope that you also found it informative from the video. It was quite long. Apologies about that, but it had to be done. I hope that you find this informative to the extent that, because you were not on the actual Teams meeting, however, whatever questions that you might have had about this profession also got answered. And if there are any other questions, don't forget to drop them in the comment section. Just comment, like, and please share. You're more than welcome to also DM me on my social media platforms: Coolest Advocates on Instagram, Tari Menisa on Facebook, Twitter is Coolest Advocates again. So yeah, just DM me, talk to me if you need to know anything else. Just let me know so that I can be able to create more meaningful content for those of y'all that are here for the legal content. Thank you so much for joining once more. I don't want to make this too long. I just want this video to be as short as possible, because yeah, I think we've already taken up enough time. So yeah, thank you so much.